Today I'll show you the best ways to utilize Pokemon Home for VGC Pokemon battles, and rest assured everything we go over today is included via the free version of the app. What's up, y'all?
Mr. Dr. Professor
Titan here, back with another video to enhance your Pokemon adventure. Whether you're a seasoned VGC competitor that goes to live competitions, or you're just now starting out and building your first team for online VGC battles, Pokemon Home has a ton of awesome stuff that you can benefit from that we will be going over today to make sure that you can build the best team possible. With this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I pop out new Pokemon content every single week, including helpful Pokemon videos, fun playthroughs, and TCG unboxings, so any support is truly appreciated. And now let's get to the vid. Starting off with a Pokemon Home tip that is applicable to VGC but also can just be utilized for anyone playing Pokemon for just a good peace of mind. Pokemon Home actually saves your Pokemon into the cloud, so let's say you accidentally lose your Switch or it gets stolen. Any Pokemon like my Incineroar here, it was saved in my Pokemon Scarlet, and when you save to your game specifically, all those Pokemon are saved actually to your Switch. They're not backed up anywhere, so if you do lose your device or if it's stolen, those Pokemon are unfortunately lost forever. But if I move my Incineroar over to Pokemon Home and I save it there, so let's say if I'm traveling for a VGC competition, I'm going to take a flight. If I lose my luggage and I don't have my Switch, I could maybe borrow one from a friend, pop my Pokemon over from my Pokemon Home into that game via their Switch, and then hopefully still be able to compete or do something around that map. Next up, for the mobile version of Pokemon Home, if you click into the main menu and then select Battle Data, you can actually click on the Ranked Battles section, and this will show live active data Pokemon backed specific from the VGC online competitive battling for each month. So specifically, I do double battles, so we're going to switch from single battles to double battles. You can look up the top Pokemon used for a month in the actual competition. So for Pokemon ranking, you just click into there, and let's look at Raging Bolt specifically. It's one of my favorite new ones from the game. And first off, you can see the top 10 Pokemon seen in battle teams with this Pokemon. So it looks like Raging Bolt is usually seen side by side with Incineroar, Fluttermane, Rillaboom at the top. You continue to look on, you can see the top moves that it learns, you can see descriptions of each move. There's a ton of data here that's super crucial to anyone looking to build a team. You can look at the abilities. Obviously, Photosynthesis is the only ability for Raging Bolt, so everyone's using that. You can see the specific nature, so Modest looks to be the way to go. Special attack up, attack down. From there, you can see held items. It looked like Leftovers kind of overtook Assault Vest, which is pretty cool to see. I know that I use Assault Vest specifically, but if I ever want to use like maybe a Magnet, Life Orb, I can see my other options here for what others have found successful. And then, of course, the Terra types as well. It looks like Terra Fairy, a defensive sort of Terra type, is the best for Raging Bolt. You can then look at the victories where this Pokemon has taken out the most Pokemon specifically for battles. Tornadus, Urshifu, Fluttermane, that makes sense. You see Fluttermane a lot. Tornadus and Urshifu are obviously very weak to Raging Bolt. From there, you can also see the attacks, the top 10 moves used by this Pokemon to defeat others. Thunderclap, phenomenal move. It's super cool. Dragon Pulse, Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, makes a lot of sense. You can also then look at the defeats, the amount of Pokemon that end up taking out this Pokemon. So maybe, obviously, Fluttermane, you see that, okay, I would look at that and say, yeah, Fluttermane's going to be destroying this thing pretty easily. That's why we see the Fairy defensive Terra, or maybe I want to change that to Steel. Maybe looking at Landorus, maybe I want to change that to maybe a Flying type sort of Terra. It really all depends on what you want to do with this data, but there is so much here that you can see, and it happens every single month. You can see the top 10 moves as well for what moves destroy Raging Bolt, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power, Earthquake. Let's go back here. There's a ton of Pokemon that you can really just look into, do different fun team buildings if you're into that. Really just anything you want to do with this information. Also though, with Regulation G coming out soon, there's going to be a lot of new legendary Pokemon that we are going to be seeing, and what we can also look at is past battle records, where if we look at ranked battles for Sword and Shield, I know for sure once it loads here, if we click in, we can go back to a past season and we can look at what people have used for maybe Pokemon that have yet to be introduced. So if I click on Pokemon ranking for this season, I can look at, okay, Zacian was used a lot, Kyogre. Okay, I know Kyogre's going to be available in this next month. What were a lot of Pokemon that were next to Kyogre? What were a lot of Pokemon that beat Kyogre? What moves does it have? Cool abilities. nature, item, the same stuff that we saw before in the active sort of competitive scene. You can also go back to Sword and Shield as well and see which Pokemons it destroyed. the Pokemon that defeated it. Obviously, this stuff can show like Regieleki, which may not be the best Pokemon for this current season for VGC, but just understanding what Pokemon you're able to sort of battle, build around for these Pokemon that have been successful in the past as well is something that's really cool to find with Pokemon Home, and I definitely recommend anyone to use it if you're looking for a victory. Finally, a feature that technically does need the paid version, but if you did have the paid version at one point and then have the free version after no longer paying for it, if you have at least 31 Pokemon in Home, and you go down to this point section in Home specifically, you can actually AFK money farm based on at least every 31 Pokemon that you have in Pokemon Home. You get one Pokemon Home point, which can convert into LP specifically for Scarlet and Violet. And so for me, I have 32,814 points. I can convert that to all LP for Scarlet and Violet and then use that as in-game currency. And as you can see here, my conversion goes all the way to 328,140 LP. So you can definitely rack up a lot of points to utilize for Eevee and Ivy training in Scarlet and Violet. But just know, you do have to have the paid version at one point to get at least 31 Pokemon in your Pokemon Home saved. Y'all, thank you so much for checking out the video. I truly hope that you learned something new. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future helpful videos and other awesome Pokemon content. And there should be some videos now showing on screen that should also help you out with your Pokemon adventures. So of course, make sure to go check those out as well.